Oh, you thought rent only goes up? That's adorable. For 3 years straight, landlords have been sending rent increase notices like they were holiday cards. Every single year. And we just accepted it. Like it was totally normal to pay 2 grand a month to live in a place where the dishwasher has never once worked. Well, the tables have turned. Rent is dropping in cities all across America, and the landlords who thought they'd be collecting checks forever are now the ones sweating. Some are slashing prices, some are offering free months, and some, this is the good part, are straight up selling and getting out. Today, we're counting down the 10 cities where it's happening fastest. One of them dropped 42% in a single year. Mind you, 42%. We'll get there. Stick around. Jacksonville, Florida. So Jacksonville kicks us off at a modest 1.9% drop, which doesn't sound like much until you remember this city was raising rents in double digits just 2 years ago. The developers came in, built a bunch of apartments, and then discovered that Jacksonville's explosive growth was maybe slightly exaggerated. Shocking news to you, not everyone wants to move to Jacksonville. Columbus, Ohio. Columbus is actually a decent city with a real economy and genuine job growth, and its rents still fell 3.5%. That's the largest drop Columbus has seen since they started tracking this data in 2019. How do you lose a rent battle in a city that's genuinely growing? You build faster than the humans can arrive. Columbus issued so many multifamily permits they basically outconstructed their own demand. Impressive in a completely backwards way. Nashville, Tennessee. The city's so cool that every developer in America decided to build there simultaneously. For a while, it was the hottest market in the country. No income tax, live music, bachelorette parties as far as the eye can see. And then someone looked around and realized there were more new apartments than there were people to put in them. Landlords here are back to offering free first months and waived fees, which, if you've rented in Nashville in the last 3 years, feels genuinely historic. Enjoy it while it lasts. Birmingham, Alabama. Birmingham got the memo that it was supposed to be the affordable Atlanta, and developers built accordingly. There's just one small issue. Atlanta-level growth never showed up. The affordable Atlanta remained Birmingham. 5% drop in a year. Landlords who bought it in expecting big city returns are now doing the math repeatedly, hoping the answer changes, but it doesn't. Phoenix, Arizona. Phoenix was the pandemic relocation capital of America. Californians fled there in such numbers that home prices doubled overnight, and landlords started acting like they were doing you a personal favor by accepting your application. That era is over. Rents are down 6.2%. Vacancy rates are climbing. The landlords who locked in peak mortgages expecting rents to keep rising are now learning about a concept called cash flow negative. It's not a fun concept. We didn't invent it. They did this to themselves. Denver, Colorado. Denver used to be the city where you applied for an apartment against 30 other people and just prayed for it. Landlords had all the leverage and they knew it. Now, Zillow says rent dropped over $100 a month, year over year. Units that used to rent in hours are sitting for weeks. U-Haul data shows Denver is nearly 50-50 on people moving in versus out, which for a city that banked on infinite growth is basically a crisis. Landlords in Denver are now doing things like returning calls, voluntarily because times are different now. Austin, Texas. Austin, where tech bros moved. Rents tripled and every local musician had to get a second job. Rent was so high for so long that it became a personality trait of the city. And then they built 64 multifamily units for 10,000 residents in a single year. Apparently, nobody said maybe that's too many. Rents are now down almost 8%. Renters are walking into negotiations with spreadsheets, actual spreadsheets, showing landlords that comparable units dropped 23% from peak. And the landlords, they're agreeing because what else are they gonna do? The investors who bought Austin real estate in 2021, expecting it to appreciate forever, are now listing. The dream of being a landlord in Austin has turned into homework you can't pass. Cape Coral, Florida. Cape Coral is experiencing what happens when you combine overbuilding with two major hurricanes. Tripled insurance costs, and residents who decided that maybe living somewhere that floods repeatedly isn't a vibe. Landlords here are getting hit from every single angle simultaneously. Rents dropping, insurance up, tenants leaving, and yet somehow new construction kept going because, it's Florida. Many of them are listing. You love to see it. Well, you don't love hurricanes, but you do understand the point. Fort Myers in Sarasota, Florida. 42.67%. That's how much rent fell in Sarasota in 1 year. January 2024 to January 2025, average rent went from $3,200 a month to under $1,900. Now, before you think this is a glitch in the matrix, here's what actually happened. Sarasota passed aggressive pro-housing policies, flooded the market with new supply, got destroyed by two hurricanes, and watched its pandemic-era tenants leave all at roughly the same time. The landlords who bought at 2023 prices, expecting $3,000 a month rents forever, not having a good year. Some of them are selling, others are in a stage of grief we will call bargaining. Either way, renters in Sarasota right now are getting an absolute deal. The landlords would like you to know they are fine. They're not fine. The entire Florida Gulf Coast. Our number one isn't a single city, it's a whole coastline having a collective meltdown. Of the 18 major metros that recorded outright rent declines in the late 2025, 8 were in Florida. The Gulf Coast from Tampa down to Naples is in synchronized free fall, and somehow every developer in the state is still pouring concrete. Institutional investors are quietly reducing their Florida exposure. Real estate agents say sellers are accepting 15 to 20% below what they'd have gotten 2 years ago, just to exit. The people who told you Florida real estate only goes up are currently very, very quiet on social media. On the renter side, willing to move to the Gulf Coast, congratulations, you have options, leverage, and landlords who will absolutely negotiate. Bring snacks. It might take a while because they're still processing their feelings. For the landlords who bought at peak prices, betting on infinite rent growth, touch grass. It's gonna be a minute. So, if you've been thinking about moving to any of these cities, negotiating your lease down, or simply enjoying the rare historical moment of having a landlord return your tax, now's the time. Not next year. Nope. Just now. The landlords who are selling out right now aren't panicking. They're doing math, and honestly, respect your math. Maybe it's your turn to do some math too.